Well, Britain's addiction to surveillance is shattering records, with it estimated that there is now one camera for every 11 people there. Privacy groups are furious, saying that George Orwell's 1984 was never intended to be an instruction manual. RT's Tessa Arcilia takes a look.
In today's society, people don't notice it, but you're always being watched. Like that short news clip said, did George Orwell really just predict the future of modern day society? Well, maybe not everything ended up being true in America, but according to telegraph.co.uk, there are up to 6 million CCTV cameras in Britain. First of all, what does CCTV even mean? Well, first of all, it stands for closed circuit television, which is a monitored system mainly used for security purposes. CCTV relates very well to telescreens. In 1984, the voice came from an oblong metal plaque, like a dual mirror which formed part of the surface of the right-handed wall. Winston turned a switch and the voice sank somewhat, though the words were still distinguishable. The instrument, the telescreen, it was called. The telescreen is an instrument used to watch everything that Winston is doing in his room. There are also speakers on it, which most modern surveillance cameras don't have, but it is still a form of surveillance. Also, there weren't only telescreens in 1984, there were also helicopters. In the far distance, a helicopter skimmed down between the roofs, hovered for an instant like a blue bottle, and darted away again, curving flight. It was the police patrol, snooping into people's windows. Now I understand that police helicopters don't snoop in on people's windows, but this is a form of surveillance and monitoring in 1984. This could relate to modern day drones, which people use to snoop on their next door neighbors from time to time to see what's going on with all the unwanted noise in there. Now, to really understand why CCTV cameras are a thing and why they exist in today's world, we need to go back in time. So according to stories.swns.com, CCTV was originally introduced to Britain's streets as a temporary measure for overseeing crowds at Trafalgar Square during a visit by the royal family in 1960, and then a year after that, they were set up in train stations to watch people as like security measures and all that, and then you can imagine the rest. They started putting them everywhere. Here's some statistics about them. There are an estimated 6 million CCTV cameras in Britain alone, and one camera represents 11 people that live there. And according to stories.swns.com, Britain spends $2.2 billion a year to keep these cameras running. And it's not only CCTV cameras, it's drones and body cameras too that are being used for surveillance. And up to 300,000 of these cameras are literally located in schools. Can you imagine having a security camera sitting above you, watching you at all times in the classroom? That would suck. It means you couldn't be able to play games in the back because the security cameras could catch you in the act of doing that. Anyway, think about it this way too. 1% of the world's population is located in Britain, but 20% of the world's CCTV cameras are located there. That's crazy.
Go crazy! Go stupid!
In fact, not having privacy is the biggest issue in Britain. Let's look at an average day of living there. You wake up, you go to work, and you come back, and throughout all those times, you have passed 300 CCTV cameras every single day. And then when you get home, you're gonna chill on your sofa, and you think like, oh well, I'm all private now.
Wrong.
That's right. In 2016, the UK government, both parties, passed a law called the Investigatory Powers Act of 2016. This meant that the UK government could spy on anything you were doing on your phone, from an Amazon order to your last email to whatever the heck you watch in your free time. All the pictures on your phone, they could see anything on your phone. Since there is a growing presence of public cameras in public spaces, citizens are being watched by Citizens are aware that they're being watched by armed authorities at any time and are more self-conscious and less willing. This means that the society of Great Britain will eventually turn into an antisocial society. CCTV cameras be like in the future? And are there any solutions available to fixing this issue? Well, I really don't think there is, because it's literally all in the government's hands about what they do with this. But I think the bare minimum people can do about this is get themselves together and just protest about this issue. Tell the government how they feel about this and what the solution should be. The future could be a year from now, 10 years, 100 years, but like somewhere in 10 to 20 years, I'm sure they're going to put trackers on people's legs, arms, or whatever, so they can know where everyone is at any given time, just like if you're on probation. And I'm sure they're going to put trackers on people's cars too. And I've noticed a lot of people these days have had these things called like Echo Dots, Google Homes, Alexa. The government is going to find out a way that they can hear you through those different trends that people use, like the Alexa or the Google Home and stuff like that.